So a typical day in planting season, we try to get started by 6 a.m., 7 at the latest, kind of full speed all day, moving around between fields. Planting goes much faster than harvest, relatively easy, but much more intense. 12, 13 hours of sitting in the tractor and just planting seeds. It's been 6 months since we've been in a tractor. It's what I live for. I love planting the seed, seeing the fruits of my labor. It's an exciting time. Just really look forward to it every year. Planting goes really fast. It's more of a sprint. Harvest is a marathon. So we get out there and do our best job, but we set out from day one to produce the best product we can. So every year we start planting as soon as conditions are fit. So most years around April 15th is our goal to start planting soybeans. The idea there is that our last frost, killing freeze, is around May 7th to 10th in this area. We try to plant the beans 3 weeks early. That's the amount of time it takes for them to come up. So we want them emerging day of the last frost so that we can get the maximum growing season, utilize every day that's available, versus planting them on that last day and then still taking maybe 2 weeks to come up, and we've lost 2 weeks of potential growth. Fit conditions for soybean planting, just the right amount of moisture, not too wet, not too dry, but we want something that's not frozen. The benefits of early planting are to extend the growing season. Soybeans are their flowering and maturity are dependent on sunlight. So we're trying to get as much growth as we can before the longest day of the year to initiate pod set, get as many nodes on the plant, flowering sites, which eventually become pods with seeds in them, to increase our yield. In essence, those little plants are solar collectors. So we're trying to space them out, trying to capture every bit of soil that we can capture the maximum amount of sunlight and convert that to protein. Our operation is only doing one tillage pass every 2 years. So what we're doing is applying fertilizer post-harvest of the corn crop. We're lightly disking that with a high-speed disc, trying to incorporate that fertilizer so it doesn't run off. We come in the springtime and plant our soybeans into that fall-worked seed bed. We're not doing anything in the springtime, just planting into that no-till. The soil is very stable. It's just ready to go. As far as seed selection, it's usually based off of performance. So we're always looking for the highest yield. But in the last few years, we've had to add the trait into it, what trait we're going to use for herbicide and for weed control. Weeds have become more of a challenge the last 4 or 5 years, and there's a lot of new technology out there as far as herbicide traits. So we've got to figure out which one's the best for us, the best yielding. Every morning we treat what we're going to plant that day. We're treating it with 2 fungicides and an insecticide, just to protect that seed. It's a high value. We want to make sure that it has the best potential life and just be able to fend off those diseases that might be lurking out there. So my family has been farming in this area for a little over 100 years. We continue to do a better job. I think if I look at the course of my lifetime and the improvements that we have made in the way we do things, most of it's been on the machinery side, tillage side. We're disturbing the soil much less, so it's much less risk of erosion. I can farm a lot more land with less labor, less machinery. I love what we're doing today. It's so much better than what we did 40 or 50 years ago.